Okay, are we? I guess we're in business.
Nobody actually is showing up, so we'll see. Most of the Eckists, the Eckists that Bob had talked to this morning, run the temple today, so they went out to the temple, and then a lot of the Eckists left, and then there was a big wedding party, and they also left, and it's just some stragglers now here, I think. So not much. Not many people. This afternoon we are going to go out to the temple and put our awareness test and Rebisar and a book. Yesterday, first thing we did was walk into the book room, and I put one of the book 9s down, and we had Rebisar's picture that we put down, a stack of those, and a stack of the awareness test down with the new materials or the new releases.
Are we gonna start the show, the Bob and Sandy show and all that?
What do you mean?
I thought you all started as the Bob and welcome everybody.
Well, this is the Bob and Sandy show. Welcome everybody. I'm starting in the middle here, I guess.
Well, anyway, welcome everybody to the Bob and Sandy show. And it's been extremely interesting coming over here this year. Extremely interesting and revealing. When we were driving over, Sandy had a couple experiences driving over. So why don't we start with her experiences on our way over?
Well, one of them is I really got hit, or however you want to say it, attacked really bad, and it took maybe an hour or so. I was singing the new you to come back. It just physically hit me really hard, and that was the experience. There weren't two coming over. There was one.
Well, one of the things that we saw a sign that was that Sandy saw, a waking dream sign. And it was a big billboard. It said, "Take your adventure to a newer level, a higher level."
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
So that was kind of cool. So anyway, we drive using Sandy's directions, which took us about an extra hour to get to our motel. But
we got lost.
Yeah,
that's what we did.
We're following Sandy's directions. So.
Well, the ones I printed out.
Right, that was the problem. Well, anyway, so we arrived in our motel. We got in pretty late, so we spent the night. Didn't really accomplish a whole lot on Friday night. So on Saturday morning, you'll never believe how my day started.
Well, tell about the Abdul.
Oh.
Friday night.
Oh, wait a minute. That's right. Friday night. You go ahead, dear.
No, go ahead.
When we checked in, there was a gentleman named Abdul who was a practicing Muslim who has studied all religions of the world, and we told him what we were here for. And
he actually inquired about Eckankar.
Yeah, he was, since there were over 60 Eckankar people registered to stay here at the motel, he wanted to know more about it. So we started explaining, what Eckankar was, and we got, we started talking about the real side, and he was so interested that he actually wanted a book that we had. We gave him new book number 2.
No. Oh yeah, new book 2 we did.
We gave him a copy of new book 2, and he can't wait to read it. So we met somebody there that was very open to trying to understand the truth. And of course, he told us that the Muslims, that Allah is the real God that created the heavens and the earth. It was Allah. He doesn't quite get it that Allah is really one of the names for the gods in the created heavens, but well, we didn't force that issue on him. He'll discover that in due time, probably.
He was actually thinking of stopping by today if he could, but it ended up that evidently he didn't show up. So
well, he's
his today is his day off. So
Yeah, well, he starts at 3.
He starts at 3, yeah.
So he may stop by before we're done or not. We don't know. But
Yeah.
but we invited him to stop by during the Skype and ask you any questions that might come to his mind. So anyway, I guess that's how we started out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, Saturday mornings started out extremely interesting for me. Anyway, at 6:30 in the morning, while I was asleep, Harold came to me on the inner, and he got right in my face. I mean, I have never ever experienced anything like this before with Harold. I mean, in my old spiritual exercises, I might see him, passing by or whatever, but this time he was right in my face, like a foot away from my face, and he's looking right at me. He says, "Why are you here?" And I told him, I said, "We're here because you are responsible for hundreds and thousands of lives." And Harold says, "Well, what do I have to do?" And I said, "The only way you're going to save those lives is to go public and tell everybody what you've done. Admit to everybody, tell them what you've done, and then they'll have a chance to, save them." And not only that, there's a possibility of other millions of people being helped. If you can save the Eckists and get them straightened out, then they can go out and save millions of other people. And that's what you need to do. You need to go public. And Harold stood back, he leaned back, and he adamantly shook his head left and right. "No, no, no, I am not going to do that." And then I woke up from my dream, checked the clock, and it was probably around 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. Well, anyway, that was a very interesting start. I've never had an experience like that before, and never with Harold before. Yeah. But it was kind of interesting. Joni was nowhere in sight, so I think Harold may have come on his own, wondering what we were doing here. So anyway, since we had that experience, then I thought, well, what we need to do is we need to go to the seminar and find some people in the top tiers that would pass on the message to Harold before he spoke at a 7 o'clock lecture, that that somebody would pass on the word that Harold needs to follow through with that discussion that I had with him at 6:30 in the morning, and make sure he follows through on it to save thousands, save the lives of all the Eckists, and help straighten things out. Well, would you believe that we could not find one person in all of Eckankar that would even refer us to anybody that could even consider passing on the information to Harold before he spoke last night? It was like,
you even contacted some stage people.
Yeah, I even went into the equipment room and talked to the guys I've worked with for years and equipment support to set up the microphones and the speakers and the amplifiers for the speakers, and they wouldn't. He said, "No, we're not going to do that." And I said, "Well, who is there?" He says, "Well, there's one lady that was over that wasn't in the convention center." They said, "Oh, I saw her, earlier in the day over in a meeting in the Hilton Hotel, but no help whatsoever to get a hold of them or anything." And it was just, it was just kind of shocking how close-minded everybody is. And one thing that we noticed at the seminar this year, we were here a year ago, and there was still a little bit of life left in the membership, and the energy of the people here at the seminar, it's almost like that, like in that movie, that TV show, The Living Dead. People are so dead. I mean, they have no energy. It's like, yeah. It's like you're at a morgue, and we went over to an area where they do the initiation. Sandy had a friend over there that does initiations, and they had a group of about 8 people waiting to get their new fake initiations, and every one of them looked like they were at a funeral.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. I mean, they weren't joking, laughing. You know,
There
hey
were no
man,
smiles, no nothing.
no smiles. They were glum. They, you know, they looked like they were in a fog of some sort. And I mean, you know, you'd think if you were going to get a spiritual initiation and grow, you know, there was growth to your life, that you'd be so excited. You'd be talking, hey man, I'm here. I'm getting my such and such initiation. It was like a funeral procession. It was like they lost their last friend. So we were really kind of, you know, we just couldn't believe it. It was so different here than it's ever been before.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to when we put the book and the Rebisar's picture in the book room, and because that was our first stop, and they had big pictures of Harold, and then we put on this where you put pictures easel, and they had 2 of them, 2 pictures. One was Rebisar and Paul, and then that Diana Stanley did, and then next to it was a picture of Harold, or Harry, and then we took the smaller ones of Rebisar, the little cards we had made up, and stuck them 2 on each easel down at the bottom. And then, of course, we added Rebisar and the awareness test, like I said before, in book 9 on the book room table where the new releases are. And we actually found our tags from last year. Bob did. So we wore our tags, and the color matched for this year, except for the year. It said 2017, but nobody really checked it.
Yeah, and a couple of people wanted to see our badge, and I held it up with my finger over the old date.
Over the year.
Over the year with the wrong date, and nobody caught on. They just thought it was a valid ID tag. But anyway,
and I also put the awareness test and Rebisar's pictures in some of those plastic grocery carts, or those.
Oh yeah, those carts that people pick up to go pick up their books in.
Yeah. We put a few awareness tests and Rebisar's pictures in the bottom of those and stacked them up. And later, one of the other things we did. This is later, but we went to the Hilton computer. And Bob brought up the lawsuit of Eckankar. So it had that cartoony picture of Harold and Joni.
Yeah, being tap-lining everybody.
Being tap-lining everybody on the computer at the Hilton. And then Bob pointed out to one lady who was an Eckist, and Bob had told her, you know, about the lawsuit. And she says, well, they'll just take care of it all. They're just going to take care of it all. That's already in the works. They're going to take care of it all. And then she said, isn't it terrible about the bookstore? Somebody put materials and a book there that didn't belong there. And she said, and we picked it up later and took it to security. So that was kind of fun.
They know somebody was in their midst here.
But they don't know who, because she told us that.
Yeah, she told us that. They had no clue it was us.
It's kind of funny. But it was very easy to do the bookstore. I don't know what'll happen at the next one. Maybe they'll up their security, but there was no security there. You didn't have to show your badge. You didn't have to do anything. You just walk in and peruse around. But
normally they have somebody checking everybody's IDs. They won't even let you in the bookstore, you know, without checking you. And we walked right in. There was nobody around to stop us.
And it actually wasn't that busy. Usually there's like lines forever, and there were not this year.
It didn't seem like there was that many people here.
Hardly any.
Yeah, it looked like the attendance was really down this year. Now another thing is interesting. We did connect with a few Eckists where they were grateful for sharing that card with Rebisar on it, and the new UUU, and one of Sandy's old hunks from Arizona that works in meeting support was there, and he can see reptilians on the other side. just like Sandy can, and they really connected on that subject. And
He also said he thought Joni was a reptilian. I mean, he said, I've seen her face different ways, and he said I thought she was. So at least there's some awareness out there.
so we met some people with that really were happy that we shared the new you with them, but then a couple other people we shared it with. Sandy says they must work in the office and were witches, part of the Crohn's coven.
Yeah, so, yeah, I think I met one of Joni's witches for sure. I mean, she stood up after we were talking to her. She threw Rebisar's picture back at us, and she was emphatic. You should not be saying this and this and this. And after she left, I had such a headache that I've never had before. I had to lay my head down on the table. She just lambasted us, and it was interesting. It took a lot out of both of us, really, her doing that. And then we had another one at the table who kind of listened at first. We were sitting in where all the round tables are, where people congregate. That's where we were. And all of a sudden,
some people came and sat at the table, and she was, okay, we can't talk anymore.
And she got up and she left abruptly. We also put Rebisar's picture up and down the halls.
Yeah, we put Rebisar pictures everywhere. Elevators, bathrooms.
You name it.
You name it. We stuck them everywhere that we could think of.
We were in a restaurant and for lunch on Saturday, and there happened to be 4 Eckists who were sitting down. Well, actually, they were waiting first, and then they got seated after we did. And one of them had a Hugh hat on, and he disappeared from the table for a while. I don't know if he went to talk to somebody or what, but we walked over and gave him the awareness test and Rebisar's picture and talked a little bit about it. Oh, and Blue Sky Island, we gave him that little pamphlet we had made up. We put that everywhere too. And they were real receptive. And then the guy came back to the table, and he comes up and he comes over to talk to us, and he was real interested in what we gave everybody. So we gave him the information. And
he said he has to go to Wausau tomorrow on Monday for business, and he wanted to know if he could contact us at our home over there.
Yeah, he asked for my phone number and address, so I gave it to him, an email. So we'll see what happens. So there, and then we also left Rebisar's picture where the salt and pepper shakers go at the restaurant. It was kind of a diner, but it was a good one. And we left a few other things in the bathrooms there.
Yeah, it's one place where there was an easel with Eckankar on it, and right at the base of the easel on each side there was a place to hang a card. So, and we took pictures of this for you guys if you want to see it.
We have to.
And we turned around and somebody came by and picked up one of them. I mean, it took less than 30 seconds for somebody to grab one, and
so we put another one there.
So we put another one out, and you know, and in that restaurant we ate in, I hung some up on the mirror and by the wash basin, and I left them there. And Sandy, after I got back, Sandy went to the washroom, and she said that somebody had already taken one of Rebisar's pictures and left the other ones there. So
so I replaced it.
So we replaced that one, but apparently Rebisar's been able to guide you guys, or the real guys have been able to guide people to pick those up. So good work, guys. Really, really good work. So
it's interesting.
So it's interesting.
I mean, everybody loved his picture. Everybody. I don't think until they turned it over and saw that Joni was reptilian, then we got a few slams on that. But they seemed to absolutely love that picture. So that was a real good attractant.
Yeah, I think in the Eckankar bookstore they were selling small pictures like that of Rebisar for like $7 or
Yeah.
something. And here they were free
They
pictures.
were free, just sitting there.
Yeah, just sitting there. All you had to do was grab it.
New release.
And we left a stack of them. We found a couple places in the convention center and the Hilton Hotel where they had stacks of literature that Eckankar put out. They laid them on a table, and we just added the
awareness test, Rebisar, and Blue Sky Island.
Yeah, just right along like it was regular Eckankar literature.
We also put some on their counter where they take the reservations and stuff. Eckankar had their brochures there and their schedule, and we just put down what we had. So
anyway, we have yet to go out to the temple this afternoon.
Yeah.
Sandy wants to go walk around with the jillion reptiles that are out there.
Oh, by the way,
she wants to go grazing with them.
There were so many reptilians in that conference center. I mean, they were crawling all over everything. One of the women that we had talked to, what I saw on her, and I've never seen that type of reptilian before. It was more lizard-like, but it was a whitish color, and it had like yellow veins kind of running through it. And it was a man, or was a he reptilian, a male, and it bent over at her, and it had red eyes. I've never seen that before either in that type of reptilian, but he was kind of taking everything in. We were saying to her, that's a gal that got up abruptly. That was the reptilian around her.
Oh, okay.
And they're there. They're everywhere. They're all over the temple. I mean, what I've seen, I haven't been to the temple yet, but what I've seen in a vision, they're just everywhere.
Tell them about your friend.
Which one?
The
female, the reptilian that comes around me a lot with the New Orleans beads and the lipstick. And she was at the seminar too. She came in and out, and she actually is she's not bad. She is actually interested in some of the things. So she hung around. She was in and out, and I'd catch her every now and then, a vision of her. And it's interesting, that's for sure. But there's some nasty ones out there, real nasty. People started lining up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Val. And the line was so long, and there were people sitting all over the floors. And I don't know how we would have gotten in because of the date on our tag.
Yeah, because they look at the IDs very close. They won't let anybody in that hasn't got current registration. So we didn't even try to get into it. But this morning, when I came out into the lobby of the hotel, they had a breakfast there, and a lot of people standing around, and I found a couple Eckists and I asked them, I said, did you get to see Harry last night? And they said, yeah. And I said, what did he talk about? And he said, he talked about a whole bunch of things. Well, obviously he didn't admit that he didn't admit his dirty dealings.
Well, he told you no. So.
Yeah, but anyway, what was interesting was I said, well, what are some of the things he talked about? And I had kind of a language barrier. One of them was from Africa, and the other one was like from, probably from China or someplace. They didn't understand English very well. But what this lady from Africa said, the first thing that she said that Harold talked about, he said that Harold told everybody that they need to get a doctor's appointment and make sure that they keep their health up. You got to find a doctor and make sure you maintain your state of health. And I about fell over when I heard that one. and I think what it is, there's so many people that are tap line and dying of cancer and everything else in Eckankar. They're losing their revenue stream. So they want to help out the American Medical Association and send them off to doctors to help work on the backside of all that. So I thought that was really, really kind of funny that was the first thing that she thought of. Go see a doctor and maintain your health. Don't worry about tap lines or anything. Just make sure you see a doctor and he'll take care of you really good.
There was a lot of them we talked to, if they knew that Marjorie Klemp had passed on, and some of them did and some of them didn't. No, really? When did that happen? We got that quite a few times. So they still don't know. And now the Africans you didn't ask them, did you? If they knew that Marjorie, or Harold mentioned that Marjorie died?
Which Africans?
That you talked to this morning.
Oh no, I didn't bug them after that. I just asked them what.
But anyway, I told the story that I had of after Margie's death, and one of the Eckists from Arizona thought that was great. That's probably exactly what happened. And he went right along with it. And one of the Eckists that we talked to in the Hilton and told that story too, he thought I had gotten it all wrong. And well, people don't pick up stuff right and all this kind of stuff. So, you get both ends of the spectrum there and some in between. And I was surprised, though, at how many did not know she had passed on. So, anyway.
Well, they probably don't want to pass on the information, because if it gets out that she's still on the lower astral plane somewhere, not doing so hot, that doesn't say very much for eighth initiates, does it?